Hello and welcome to our Saturday stream. I'm Josh and this is our Fantasy Grounds Unity map and image creation. Thanks for everybody for joining me this afternoon. We have been working on some post-apocalyptic style maps, so we're going to continue that today. Also just released this week is the additional Abandoned Places map pack, as well as the new jungle art package, which is very cool. So we'll be tying into that at some point this month as well. In addition to that, I'm just going to be doing a short stream today. So we'll be working on some of the stuff that we have done. We will be getting a pretty big update at some point coming out here, which is going to have lots of new cool things, including this neat little sidebar changes, and in addition to that, a whole bunch of news features. So that's super exciting. And as those get closer to release, many of that is all available. An abandoned place in the jungle. Let's see, my train of thought here. Whatever I was talking about, I don't. Oh, there's a whole bunch of new stuff coming. And so as those things get closer to release, which they are out in test, I believe, in the test channel currently, if you want to check them out. But we'll be going over that as well. I'm super excited about the new reference manual builder. It should be super useful, and I'll show you guys a whole bunch of things that I've been doing with it, which is really, really fun. Awesome. So this last week, we started making this map. A little urban cross section here in some sort of town or city or somewhere along those lines. And inside of here we have, let's open this up here. We got our line of sight pretty well all done for many of these elements. And we're going to be building, we did this like little storefront with a little back room here. Added in a whole bunch of different stuff. So we're going to be building out some of these other areas as well today. And like I said, I'm only going to be doing a short stream today. So probably just about an hour or so. And then we'll be back at it this next week at a full long stream, and we'll get a lot of stuff done. So I hope everyone's having a great week and everyone's doing really, really well. The weather here has been quite lovely, which is unseasonably warm. That's always nice. So let's dive right in here and start to put some of this stuff together. You guys had a few different ideas about what we should do in some of these other areas here. So what about this little area in here? We can either focus on, let's do one building or the other. This is like two large kind of open areas. And this one has a lot of little areas. I'm thinking about making this into like a stairwell that kind of goes up. We could have it start here and then kind of go up on this side and have like a little, maybe like entry area here. Maybe we'll do like apartments above or something along those lines. What do you guys think? You guys have any input? I also think we should probably put in some trees and whatnot, and add in some additional kind of elements above. Now, why don't we, while I wait for some comments to see where we should do and what we should do in some of these other areas, I'm going to start putting in some trees. Ooh, a hotel. That sounds cool. Let's open up our assets over here. And I'm going to go into, I think in our first one here, we have a whole bunch of different, whoops. I'm always forgetting that you don't have to double click these anymore. It's just single click. Got some nice trees in here. So I'm just going to type in tree. And we might even use some of the rocks and whatnot to kind of place around and whoop. Don't want to click on this bar. We want to maintain our full screen here. Let me grab my assets and move them right over to the side. A hotel is cool. Yeah, I like that idea. And I'm just going to paint in some of these trees. I want to kind of like overlap a little bit. I really like this when the tree kind of feels like it's growing up over the building. And maybe we'll do a couple of little color variations. We'll drop the green down a little bit. And we can turn off our lock aspect lock ratio. Create some different shapes here. So how's everyone doing this week? It's getting closer to the holidays, which is always fun for me. I think we'll go back down into the plants. I'm going to add in a couple more plants as well. Maybe not. I think I'm going to use, I really like this one. And this works so well for kind of like creeping out underneath things. We might not even want to do it in this particular one. I think I'll do it down in this this area. The shortcut keys for scaling and rotating is it's all uses the mouse wheel, and it only works in the painting arena here. And we can use Control to change the size with the mouse wheel. If we use Alt, Alt doesn't do anything. So it's Shift rotates. But we can also hold down A, and that will adjust our alpha channel, the transparency of our object. And we can do R, G, and B as well. So if I want to just change the R value or the green value, I can do it right from here. Yeah, they're very, very useful. I'm going to do some of this stuff that's kind of like coming out from underneath. As you can see, as we start to build this stuff up, we really get this kind of feeling that everything is overgrown. We get these coming out from underneath the building here. And we'll be adding in some additional. We don't want to keep it these abrupt kind of ends. Here we'll be painting in some stuff over the top of those and figuring all this stuff out. And we can do some elements kind of coming in from the outside too, creeping in. And let's flip it so that we get a little bit more variety. And I'll grab some of these additional kind of elements as well. I think I'll grab some of these rocks. Well, I think we'll want to keep it above these layers here. I just want to do some additional kind of elements here. We have lots of these kind of scattered rocks and whatnot. Ooh, yeah, like a sinkhole. That sounds cool. What if we do it like in here? Creating a sinkhole inside of one of these areas, I think would be really cool, don't you? We can actually break up the floor pattern a bit and create like a large like hole that's kind of fallen in. Sounds pretty fun. Let's do that. And we can do that a few different ways. So in the same kind of creation process here, let's go up into, I think that if we go into our abandoned places 2 here, and show you a couple of different techniques that you can do to create things like that. Well, maybe it's in the, let's go into the jungle art package, I think. Yeah. So we'll use this. This is the same kind of one that we used here. So I'm going to make. But we want to do like a kind of jagged creation here, right? We want to break it up here a little bit. I think what I'll do is we can do a little bit coming out from the side. I'm going to lower down my opacity here quite a bit, and kind of we'll have this kind of spreading out. Break up this a little. But I'm going to find something that is a nice kind of shape. You know what I actually think we'll use? Let's go into the winter art package here. And in our effects area here, we have these nice kind of snow elements. And what I'll actually do is grab one of these ones that has a lot of interesting kind of shapes to it. And then I'm going to hold down R, G, and B, and I'm going to make that all the way down to black or nearly black. Something like this. And I'm going to create a new painting layer. We'll drop that down in something like this. And I'm going to use this to create the hole. And then I'm going to do, just going to stamp this out a little bit here. Yeah, so this will be like our hole that's kind of sunken down in here. Holding down A, I'm going to drop down my opacity a little bit. I'm just going to use this to, if you hold down R, G, or B on the keyboard, You can use your mouse wheel to adjust all of these. So if I hold down R, G, and B at the same time, I can adjust all of these with my mouse wheel. And then if I hold down A, I can also adjust the alpha channel. So you know what? I think I'll actually, let's grab this one. And what I'll do is, again, I'll hold down R, G, and B, and I'm going to make this fairly dark. And I'm going to do a little bit of a shadow on the edge here. So holding down A now, I'm going to lighten that up. And then I'm also going to just kind of stamp around this edge to soften that out. Let's drop down the opacity of our grid here a little bit more. Now we have this sunken in hole. If this feels a little bit too dark for us, we can go back in and adjust it, but I think it's pretty good. I kind of like that it's very, very dark and mysterious. Yeah, happy little hellmouth. Maybe not that happy, but and so what we can actually do is here, I can grab one of these, and we can actually again, I'll hold down R, G, and B, and I'm gonna make this, but I want it to be a little bit lighter. And again, I'll drop down the opacity a little bit, and I'll just paint this right over the top, and this is going to create a little bit of as if we can see just a tiny bit that's in there. It's a little bit, I want it to be a little bit more subtle than that. So I'm going to make it a little bit lighter with my opacity so I can build it up a little bit more. And once we have our base kind of thing here, yeah, that's looking pretty good. What we can actually do is we can go back into our abandoned places here. I think we'll go into the second one. And we can grab some of these types of things. And we can drop down the opacity quite a lot. And what this will do is, as you can see here, this is going to create, it will look like that there are maybe pieces that have fallen in, and we could do it with rocks and debris. And maybe something like this. And just darken this up a lot. I'll drop down the opacity. Maybe we'll grab maybe something like this. So now we have this this kind of idea that there is some stuff down there as well. And we can actually, if we want to, we could We could make that into a very lit kind of area, as if you had like shafts of light coming down, but I kind of like it, that mystery, that down there in the darkness, because this is an interior location. And so we don't want to have this to be too much of an interference here, right? We want it to be nice and subtle like this. We could also come in, and if this is a little bit too jagged, we can come in and fix that as well. We can remove some of this. So in the same scenario here, let's maybe we'll find something that's a little bit more angular. So you could take any object, really, anything like this, and then we're just going to hit R, G, and B, and we're going to make it all the way down or pretty close to being black. And then I can start to use it. That's a little bit too much. So we want to change the value here a little bit. So I'm just going to hit R, G, and B and match it up pretty closely here. And you can see I can start to add in some straight areas here. I think we'll use something that's a little bit less. Use something like this. Maybe we'll make that look like it's a little bit like it's drooped down in like these ones. Maybe we'll do it so that we have that kind of feeling. Very cool. And then we can go into, if we go into the new cemetery art package, and we can go into our brushes here. We have a nice cracks brush. Switch over, as you can see here. And we also have a kind of like a template here. Let's actually go into our, I think it's in effects. Yeah, here we go. And again, I'll drop down my opacity a little. And then we can go underneath here. Make sure we go back to our stamp tool. You can see we can start to put in some of these cracks. And this is going to help really kind of sell. We can do different sizes and kind of layer this on top of each other. But as you get closer to the opening, perhaps in certain areas it's going to be more or less stable. give some sort of visual clue to that, you know, like. And we could even use the actual brush itself. And with this particular element, right, let's increase just a little bit. You can actually go to the line and we can draw out cracks. If we want to have specific elements. So let's see if we were thinking about this from the standpoint of actual play, and we want to have really good control over designing particular areas here. So let's say I want to say that this section of the floor, and here I'm creating a visual clue. Let's I'm going to lower down my opacity of it, but I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Say I want to have a visual cue that this is going to fall away if my players step on it, for example, right? And we could do a whole network of different elements here, and so I can paint this out, and now without me having to really explain much, when the players enter into the room, for example, they're going to see all of these cracks. It's just like another visual element that we can use. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to grab this and here on this lower element here, I'm just going to soften up some of this stuff. Some of these areas where it's just a little bit too harsh. This kind of interferes with the overall fidelity of it, you know. And we could even go in and do like highlights on edges and stuff and really make it look beveled if we wished. Very cool. And now we can start to add in all of the bits of debris. So what do you think that this this section of the building is actually? What should we put in here? Let's say if we were going to because here we have, I'm thinking about we can make this, we had talked before about doing a doctor's office and things, but I think that that's going to be good over here. Maybe what we'll do is do like a clinic. On this side, we can do like a waiting room with a reception desk, and then this would be like the doctor's office in here. Or we could do like a drugstore. I think that would be cool. Ooh, a restaurant. That sounds like a cool idea. We can do this, and this would be the kitchen back in here. We might want to change the door to a different type. We probably wouldn't want to have like a regular type of door going into the kitchen. And then we could add in maybe a little like, I think we could do like tables around and whatnot. Sure, let's do that. And we could add in some different kind of elements in through here. Yeah, you know what I'll have to do is create some nice industrial kind of steps and stairs. But I think what we'll do is we'll just go into here and we'll use some of these cement style ones. Let's make this 2 by 2. Or maybe we'll make it a little oblong. Yeah, it looks like it should be about 3. And we could drop it in something like this. Let's make this a little bit more narrow then. We'll have to do another little, or maybe we can just have that fade off. That'll work fine. We'll have it, you know, that's kind of feeling that it kind of goes up and around. As something like that. We could do an additional kind of element in there. Well, actually, let me just show you guys. I'm going to hit Control Z and undo that. So what I'll do to make this work appropriately, I want to line this up here. So I'm just going to do one like this, and then we'll lower one. Just to kind of do that. And then what I'll do is and we can add in our shadows and have that kind of fade up into the upstairs area where this would kind of curve up and around and so on. And this will just be like a little entry area here. Maybe we'll put like a table over here or something. What I'll actually do is let's go into our adjust colors. This is our main shadow. Those are probably going to be a little bit too vague for this. Why don't we just paint in our shadows. And let's make this a little bit oblong here. And I'll go into the shadow area here. I think we'll go into the interior map pack 2. Well, these are a little bit more. Let's just type in table. Oh, stables. Looks like I'm going to have to create some more round tables. Don't seem that we have too many of them, huh? But this one might work pretty good in here. Let's make it do like a little table here. And maybe we'll place some items on it or whatnot. And let's change these a little bit. I'll actually grab this hexadecimal code, hit Control C. And then I can just hit Control V and make these all about the same color. Make it like a little pile of chairs. And we can even do some that were. Nope, we don't want that. And then we can come in with some additional adjustments. We can put all kinds of stuff on top there. Let's put this one in here. And I'll go into this area. Let's go into our effects. Add some little shadows from our elements here. I think we have some cups and plates and things. And this would be a great place for have some broken glass on the floor. Interesting. Let's. Probably wouldn't have any tires in there. What do you guys think? We definitely need some of these cups and things. Yeah, I think that maybe what we'll do is do like a cloth kind of thing there or something. A nice little couple of windows on the front of it. Kind of reminds me of a place you might find in Fallout. You guys ever play Fallout? And then we can start to add in all of the other kind of decorations that might be around. Yeah, we'll do front desk, maybe like the hostess station over here in the corner. And we can go back into our interior art pack. Here we have a whole bunch of different kind of brushes and whatnot that we can kind of use to construct anything that we wish, as well as in our decorations. So one of the cool things and one of the differences between, let's go back in there, using a brush and as a stamp or a stamped image, is that we can erase certain parts of it, right? So let's say, for example, we're going to use, let's use something like this, which is very similar. What I can do is I can widen it. We'll change the color. I think we'll actually make it a little bit darker. Something like this. And I'm just going to paint out a little section here. I think what we'll do is we'll kind of do it right across here. Whoops. So we can create this little area like this, and then I can come back into with my eraser. We'll have to erase a little section over here, and I'll make this like 1 by 1. So we'll have this little area here with like a little section on that side. Oh yeah, Cookbot. And again, we can go back into here and make sure that we add in all of our appropriate additional shadows that we might want. And I think we'll even paint in a little bit extra shadow as well. Make sure we go back into our painting area. I think what I even do is go into this area, and I'm actually going to just use like the regular line tool. Just to paint off the ends. Just to give it a little bit of a line there. Let's grab some additional like paper elements. Let's make these a little bit darker. Like menus or whatnot spread all over. And then we'll have to add in our counter here. I think what we'll do is let's redo those a little bit here. I think I want to show a little bit of that. And I think if we use one of these table, we can set this up as like a maybe like a cutting board. And we'll do like a sink here, I think. And then we can do, I don't think that we've created or I have created any stoves or anything along those lines yet. So we'll have to kind of finagle it a little bit, but I think that we can do it. I do believe. I have faith. And above these, I could actually do. We could do something. Maybe like I think we have like pots and pans and things. Yeah, I think that that's coming along quite nicely. What do you guys think? Pants. And I'm just going to add in some a little additional kind of shadows here. We should probably do a little bit out here too. Awesome. We'll have to do some light sources and do all of these things here. As you can see, all of this will be removed from the light sources. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I must have been doing a test over here demonstrating something last time. Hmm. But if we close it and reopen it, it will update that. Yeah. And we may even want to, if we go into our lighting system, what we have going on here, we might even want to either shorten these shadows up or just turn them right off. Probably turn them off because we painted in these nice kind of shadows here. You can see that this is all of our interiors are going to have no lighting, and we'll have to add in all of our windows and whatnot. But the place is starting to look really cool. One more thing that we should do before we probably before I head out here, is we'll add in a couple of shadows for our trees and whatnot. We'll have to do maybe like a broken up section. I wanted this to feel like it's like bent over and leaning. So we'll have some cracks in the pavement there and whatnot. But yeah, I think it's really starting to feel like an actual place. Lots of things going on, a lot of narrative kind of elements, and I always enjoy that. Yeah, so very cool. Well, I apologize for having to do such a short stream today. I know that we usually go till about 6 o'clock, but unfortunately I'll have to call it here today. Yeah, it certainly should. And I can show you guys a couple of different ways that you can do that. I have a tendency to like my shadows to be very kind of faded, blurred out. But you can do crisp shadows as well if you want to. So what I would actually do to do this, a pretty simple kind of thing here. I'll show you really quickly. So I'm going to make this a nice like kind of oblong shadow like this. We'll even make it a little bit narrower. And I'm just going to kind of stamp this in a little bit here. And then I will turn it to, we'll get some of the little bit that's kind of coming out from there. And it should actually be, we're kind of looking at a top-down view, right? So we get this nice kind of shadow, and we should do one off of this one as well. And this is what's going to help kind of sell this bent over, right? Like this one's going to be nice and standing up straight. And then we can do, and I'll widen this a little. Off of here, and then this one we'll have it kind of following parallel to there. And then we can go back to doing a much more circular one for the end here. Yeah, very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I know that it's a short stream today, but next week we'll be back in full swing. Oh, you're so very welcome. I very much appreciate it. We'll finish this map up next time, and we'll start on the next one. And as we progress here, I have all of these maps will become available on the Forge. So if you have the art subscription, you'll be able to use these all for free, or if you own the art package. So all of this will be accessible to you guys. So you'll be able to grab this and throw this right into your campaigns and use it as is, or you'll have access to all of the different layers and whatnot, so you can do any sort of adjustments you wish. Again, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and we will see you next week. Have a great week, everyone.